Welcome to the Spirit of a Badass, where we celebrate stories of courage, hope, and resiliency. I am your host, Alecia Jacobson. Hello, my badasses. How are we today? Thank you for being here. Fuck. That's pretty much how I feel lately. Let me just tell you. Well, first, let me tell you something. So, I met with my therapist last week, and she's really effing amazing. She's like a coach therapist. I've been seeing her for a couple of years now and like following her in a non-creepy way for a long time. And her little one just started school and she needed to switch our session just by a little bit in time, just to move it in the day. And she pops on and she's like, I just need to tell you before we get started, thank you for switching and this kind of entry into kindergarten. And there's all these apps and there's all these things you have to do. And there's everything that, this is her first kind of dipping her foot into the education system where there's like all of the things coming at you at like crazy speed, which it's all relative. But she's like, if nobody's told you lately you're doing a really fucking good job, you are. And I'm like, oh my gosh, one that leads us perfectly into my conversation with her. And also thank you, because yes, there are so many things, like the mental load of kids in school. And, we have kids in all different schools. And for my two older ones, I am the only parent. And let me tell you right now, that is a motherfucking struggle. I have broke down several times because sometimes I feel like I'm just getting everything just peppered at me one after another. And thankfully, I mostly have my mental wits about me and I can handle it. But there's been a few times where I'm like, fuck. And it can't I don't know what the saying is, like, you're only as good as your least happy child, whatever that is. And that is so motherfucking true. So as my coach / therapist said to me, in case nobody has told you out there lately, those of you first of all, you're all fucking doing the shit. So you're doing a really fucking good job. Whatever it is that you're doing, there are so many pieces to keeping all of the things together and afloat, and however you want to dream up the sort of imagery for what the fuck we're doing out there in the world. Nice fucking job, because it ain't easy. It ain't easy. And we are out here doing the things. And none of this has anything to do with what I'm going to talk about today. Well, maybe it will help you, but today is just sort of this trick that I've been using for quite some time, and I share it with a lot of my clients. And I was kind of like, oh, I haven't shared it here yet. So today's the day. Today, I'm going to share with you my 24-hour rule. Before I can share the 24-hour rule, first we need to back up into me and my life and who I was like 20 years ago. Your girl was a hothead and impulsive. So I have been, I think I've been sharing this a lot lately. So the joke is probably overdone now, but I have been in therapy since 1985 and in some form of therapy. And I actually love therapy. I love me a good coach. I actually just got off another call, like a group call with one of my old coaches that I had, that has these opportunities that you can just join. And I love it. I love even when it's for my own personal self, I get things for other people too. And anyway, so I've been in therapy, working on myself for quite a while, and it didn't always work. One, I did not have a fully developed brain for, much of my life. And, now it is, obviously. Gosh, has it been? Yeah, I guess it's been developed for almost half my life now. And I was mouthy. I was aggressive and abrasive. People still say I'm intimidating. I reject that one because I may be, but it's only because that's fucking who I am. I have a personality that is big and sometimes loud, and that's it. and it serves me well in the world. But way back when, and sometimes still now, I would fire off either phone calls or, once texting came about, I would do that. And it felt really good. Okay, so when I'm talking about my own personal self, I am talking about kind of the hot-headedness, the heat that comes with someone. You probably know some of us out there that are just hot and are always ready for a good tussle, verbal or otherwise. Some people, it's so funny because one time I was telling somebody that I'm an Enneagram 8 and then I love, like, I'm just kind of aggressive. And she's like shocked. I'm like, that's because my healed self is showing up with you. She's in there. Don't you worry. She can come out. Anyway, I have a lot of practice at my episode, my topic today, the 24-hour rule, a lot of practice. Most of it coming from, meaning the learning of perfecting the practice of it, came during my divorce and then the subsequent years thereafter, because no one pushes your buttons more than an ex-husband who absolutely hates you and wants to make your life miserable. And I let him like fuel my fire. I let all these things happen. And I love a good verbal tussle. So I would also engage until I didn't. And that is where my learning happened. And this rule, though, didn't come until kind of after that. And now I have this 24-hour rule where if something, a stimulus or trigger or whatever word you want to use for the thing that sets you off. Now, for me, like I said, for me, this is I'm a heat, aggression, anger, don't tell me what to do, energy, bossy. Like, it's just like, fucking don't mess with me energy. For other people, this can run. So in the Enneagram, if you've done any work on that, it's sort of like you at your worst. So for other people, this could be a sort of almost like and I just say this not in a mean, unkind way, but like a weakness of like feeling not good enough, or feeling like somebody might say something to you or ask you something, and the meaning that you give it is that they're questioning you or that you're not good enough and you feel like you need to defend yourself. This can show up, 100% in the workplace. I was just talking with somebody the other day, and she was saying how she's also hot like I am, but she responded, and reacted to an email, and was saying she wished she would have waited and said something at a later time. I say 24 hours because usually what happens after 24 hours is you've had the time to kind of cycle through all the feels and then come to a either logical conclusion, meaning you're not using the part of your brain and body that is reactive. You are using the like, oh, this I've thought out. This I feel good about sending. For us hot people, generally, that you are in your 24-hour window if your fingers are shaking, if your heart is racing, if, like, literally even talking about this now, I'm feeling hot. But you don't feel settled within your body. And that is, to me, in any way, like if you feel an anxious feeling, and sometimes, some of that if you are a person that is more just anxious in general when dealing with other people and maybe having to say something tricky or difficult, that might be something that you always have, but you have probably a strong knowing of the heightened sense that you would have if you haven't reached your 24 hours. And you also know what it feels like in your body to feel a more calm, maybe the calm end of anxious for you. So whatever that is, the idea behind waiting this 24 hours is that you are not acting out of reaction. And I've done episodes on this before, which is responding, not reacting. And that's essentially what this is. But I think the idea of the 24-hour rule is just really powerful. And it gives you a nice kind of endpoint. And a lot of the times I just don't need to say anything. I am so much different after the 24 hours. I'm probably pissed about something else. I don't know if I said it. I've been real angry lately, and I'm having a part of me is just angry in the world and just some people in my arena. And I have fights with them in my head. And sometimes I want to let that fight out, and then 24 hours, it's gone. And I think that there's less repair that needs to be done. But sometimes I think, fuck, you maybe just say these things. But again, if you wait that 24 hours, there's just a clarity that comes with it, a calmness. And I really think there is a feeling of stability where you feel solid in what you're saying or doing or writing or whatever it is, or deciding versus kind of that impulsivity or the reactivity. And those of you who are like me, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I joke because it's like I have healed so much, but sometimes I'm like, I just want to let this bitch inside me out. Like, she needs to come out and play. She needs to put some motherfuckers in their place. And I don't want to wait 24 hours. But then the kind of like, what is it? Like the angel devil on your shoulders, the healed part of me, it's like, no, no, no. We worked really hard for this. So you might have that with other bits of you where it's like, no, like you need to be confident in this situation. You need not let somebody steal your confidence and come at it with language that minimizes you, right? It's how can you approach this in the 24-hour, gain your confidence and say something, stand in your power, whatever that looks like. So it might be kind of the other end of the pendulum, where mine is probably a more arrogance and kind of a hot. Yours might be more like cool and needing to kind of add a little bit of heat to it. And what does that look like for you? But it's really taking that 24 hours to pause. And it's not a passive pause, it's a very active pause if you need it to be. This could be also big work things where you need to make a decision. And if it's not a decision that needs to be made immediately, because sometimes they do, and then you need to act on that. Obviously, I'm not suggesting that you don't. However, the things that can have a little bit of space to it, take that space and think, how do I really want to show up in this conversation? How do I want to show up in this meeting? How do I want to be? And sometimes it is, how do I want to be perceived in this? Like, what is the role that I need to be playing or stepping into? And then how do you act accordingly? I think, especially in the climate that we have currently, it can be really helpful to just kind of sit on your hands and wait that 24 hours and then decide. Because when you are reacting within that window, you're really not deciding, because your thinking part, it's like gets shut down. I always described it before, kind of like I see red and there's no thinking. Like sometimes I don't even remember. Somebody dissect that for me. But sometimes I don't remember because I was so heated in it. So this, for me, has been a really good tool, but it's also been a really good tool for people in their careers and in friendships and family, things like that, where you're just feeling triggered in some way. And it's like, okay. And you can even have a conversation about that depending on, the level of closeness you have to the person. It can be like, hey, I totally see that this is not working right now. I'm feeling this way and I really need to come back to this tomorrow. I need some space. And I think that is just, it keeps you from having to do damage control later. It keeps you from having, kind of that like hangover feeling on the insides, like the emotional hangover or that just icky feeling in your gut. It prevents all of that from happening. It's so helpful, especially for anybody who is like me. And let me tell you, I love y'all, but this can absolutely save you. For those of you who are not hot like that, it is a space for kind of planning, for problem solving, for getting creative. Because if you think about it, when you're presented with an issue and you're feeling flooded, the creativity is automatically shut down. So if you have to stop, collaborate, and listen, right? If you have to collaborate with anyone and you're feeling triggered and stimulated and like you can't think clearly because something has made you feel so overwhelmed inside your mind and inside your body, that creativity can't happen. Thinking outside the box can't happen. Being solution focused can't happen. It is literally just like almost shutting down and not being able to move forward. And if you look at it as, oh, I'm setting aside this time in order to, one, bring my body back to a calm state, and then two, think more clearly on this. And you have a time frame where it's like, okay, after this 24 hours, so there's nothing that can be done. So that kind of pressure of like responding now, deciding now, you can relieve that pressure where it's like, oh no, I have time. And, this can be for the people pleasers out there also. I have a 24-hour rule. I don't do anything. I don't make a decision. I don't say yes to anything. I have to sit with it for 24 hours. I think this came, the human design. That was really neat because one of the things I found out in that was that I am a person that needs to kind of ride the wave, which is kind of what this is it's riding the wave where it's like sometimes I feel really, really high about something. And if I give a yes, it feels really good. Like it's a full body yes. But what happens then is a little bit later, I'm like, oh shit. I really wish I wouldn't have done that. I don't want to do that anymore. And that's something that I have realized. And that brings us into my next one, which is kind of an offshoot of the 24-hour rule, which is for bigger things, right? Where it's like you have to ride the wave longer. And that is kind of, and this is loosely, but I call it the 2-month rule, where this could be big life changes. Because again, I am impulsive. I feel it and I'm like, go, which is sometimes how I got to the places I got. And sometimes it's like, oh shit, how did I get here? I did it again. But I look at getting a pet. I look at I just messaged somebody, she posted about, and this is so fucking silly, truly, but she was saying, it's fall, I'm painting my bathroom moody. And I laughed because I was like, you remember, maybe if you've been with me a while, I talked about painting my bathroom and how I was going to follow through on it and all these things, right? No, I did not. That was impulsive. I thought about it for a little bit. My daughter said she was going to help me. Do you know that I still have painter's tape in my bathroom? I still do not have, I talked about it on my episode with Shannon. I do not have the plate things that go over the light switches. I don't have them. Why don't I have them? Because I didn't wait 2 months to decide, do I really want to do this? Is this a real commitment for me here? Now, not everything needs to be like that. You maybe can fucking paint a bathroom and it's no big deal. But those of you who know who you are and you know the things that it's like you jump in. I was talking with somebody recently too about going back to school or not. Not me. People know I'm not signing up for any new education anytime soon. But I used to all the time and I did it impulsively. I would joke, like sometimes people, they drink wine and they buy clothes, right? Just like shopping, like, yes, not me. I buy education. I would drink wine and I would buy courses and classes. Yep. Flights to fucking classes. That's what I would do. Not anymore. It is a full stop. But this person that I was talking to was kind of like, I'm not sure. Do I want to do it? Does it fit? And it's like those kind of things are okay, let me see if in 1 month, if in 2 months, does this still feel aligned with me? Has my life changed? And especially if you are a person where you have to ride that wave and you've made the mistake in the past of not fully surfing that wave, then it's like, all right. And maybe maybe it's not 2 months for you. I really believe the 24-hour rule, 100%, that I think has been tried and proven, not in any fucking scientific way, obviously, but in my life and in all my people's lives, that is like 100% nails it every time. Now, the 2-month, yours might be different. Okay. But I can get real excited about something or, wanting something big to change, or who knows what it could be. But it's like, give yourself the time, give yourself the space, to get dreamy about it. What could it look like? Do you need to do some planning, some researching, some talking to people? Like, use that space. It's not just a pause, full stop space. It is a active gathering information. What does it look like? I'm currently doing this with one of my children. They have this idea of wanting something to be different, and it is a big kind of life-changing thing. And one, I'm scared shitless, but also let's explore that. What does it look like? And I even said, like, let's see if in 2 and 3 months from now, if this is still the way that you feel. Let's gather information. Let's talk to the people that we need to talk to and inform ourselves. So, hopefully my learning from just jumping full speed ahead is helping my children, hopefully. Anyway, that is all I have for today. That's short and sweet and hopefully helpful. I think this is probably one of the little tidbits of kind of information and tried and true experiments that I've done with myself that is just kind of, I joke with people, a couple people, that it's like 24 hours, don't do anything, 24 hours, just let it sit, let it wash over you, decide how you want it, maybe bring in some chat GPT and ask, how do I respond to this in a confident way? How do I respond to this in a professional way? How do I not emotionally respond to this? How do I, just fucking use the tools that you have, use the people that you have, that the people that I'm talking about. I have people that send me things and they're like, what do I do with this? And I'm like, first of all, sit the fuck down, put your phone away, just like be cool, right? Not always do they listen. That's fine. Not my job. But when they heed the 24-hour rule, they feel good about it. So I hope that this is helpful. I hope that you can, if you are spicy and fiery, this, hands down 100%. Although I feel like once we've got to most of you listening's age, I feel like most of the people out there are a wee bit, their brains are fully developed. So the impulsivity is not as hot. But like I said, this is really good for other things where you need to create that pause. You need to create that space so that you can show up in the way that you really want to be showing up and how you want to be showing up. Because it's fucking important. You don't want to burn down shit that doesn't need to burn down. And you also don't want to make yourself look and show up in the power that you need to have that, own that shit. All right. Have a fabulous day. Thank you. If you know somebody that would benefit from this, please share it with them, share it on your socials. And I'd really love it if you went to Apple or Spotify and gave us a review. That helps other people find us and also spread, message. All right. Bye. Spirit of a Badass is a Lit Path Studios podcast and is produced by Jamie Gale and Alecia Jacobson. Music by Shane Ivers. We'll be back with another inspiring interview. Until then, keep your spirits high and your energy badass.